Welcome to the stream, everybody. Oh, let me a second. I guess I didn't have the time to put the lights on. Give me 1 second. Guess you can tell I haven't been streaming consistently lately. Welcome to the stream, everybody. My name is Jose. I am a Golden in Kendo, and today we're gonna watch some videos together. We're gonna talk about Kendo. Specifically, I want to tackle a little bit of competition. I know many events are done for the year. Many places they're not gonna have any more competition for the rest of the year. Some might, but I know a lot of places are coming back strong at the beginning of the year, so maybe we can start thinking about some things that we can do to improve our Kendo and improve our chances during competition. And that will be the theme for today. Let me catch up a little bit with the comments that we have going on today. Thank you very much for passing by. Yes, we are here. We're back. Christina, thank you very much for becoming a member of the stream. Really appreciate that. Luis, you're welcome. I hope you're well as well. And you say the pleasure's all yours. Really eager to hear what I have to say. Okay, well, put him in the spot here. And why do I have something on my face in the stream? Sorry, guys. Yeah, I haven't. Let me take this chat out. I don't know why this chat is not refreshing. Give me 1 second, guys. So I guess this a good opportunity to mention on Thursday, I will be doing a stream with Andy Fisher from Kendo Star, also the owner of the channel, The Kendo Show. So you guys are welcome to pass by here and bombard him with questions. And hopefully we all gonna have a good time figuring out what's in his brain, how can we take advantage of that, and what are some of the things that we can pick up from his experience either in Bogu design and training for national team and regular practices, of course. Let me see, why is this? Let me see if this will do it. So this chat is not. Okay, the chat on the screen is not being the chat that you guys are talking to, so sorry for that. I guess because I have the two streams together, it confused the computer. So I guess I will just give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so let me tell you what I have planned for today. I selected a couple of more videos from the All Japan Kendo Championship. Specifically, I want to talk about Ando and a little bit of the difference between his fight before the finals and kind of his attitude coming in, or his demeanor coming in for the finals. I think there's a very big difference and something that we can learn from to pick up for ourselves and try to make sure that this doesn't happen to us. And also, I kind of want to explore a little bit of the dynamics of the fights. Unfortunately, the All Japan Kendo Federation's channel hasn't uploaded all the videos, and normally they put all the all the Ippons. They compile all the Ippons. They do a compilation of all the Ippons for the rounds, and for some reason they're taking too long to do this time. So I'm wondering what's up with that. It's kind of weird, but okay, it is what it is. Let me see something. Okay, I don't know why the chat is not. Yeah, the chat is picking up the other stream, so sorry guys. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it there. There's not much I can do right now. I'll just pay attention to another screen here. But okay, so let me show you this first fight. This first fight is it comes from the first round. Ando, it's in here. And what I wanted to point out, it's Ando's going to be on the left. I believe you can see my mouse. Yeah. Ando's on the left right here. And look at the way that he walks into the court. Let me know if you guys can hear well, by the way. You'll see he walks directly into the court, comes in, and gets into the court for the fight, right? Now, I want to show you something real quick. We're going to watch this video again. So, I mean, we're going to watch the whole video because last week we watched the final anyways. Let me see. I wish I can have both of them on at the same time. Give me 1 second. Okay. So this is the final. And okay, Ando is getting ready. I like how they do this. I like how they show them getting ready, all the preparation. I like that they have to do it in front of each other as well. I believe it was Chiba Sensei. He wrote in an article about this moment right here, right? That one of the things that he does in order to start taking control of the rhythm of the fight is that he makes sure that he's the first one to put on his man and then make his opponent feel that he's behind. So maybe I'm overthinking these things. I like to look at all these details and see what makes a difference and what doesn't make a difference and try it at least to find out. And I think that this right here it's the first mental game, right? A lot of the things that we do in our matches go beyond just our display of technique, I think, but also our mental fortitude, our mental strength. It plays a very big part, and there are different things that maybe our opponent does, or maybe that we can do to our opponents that would change this, whether bring it up or bring it down. I think someone that's famous for that in, in the boxing world is Mike Tyson, how he will come out and just do not take the eyes away from his opponent. And I think like the first fight he lost, it was when he took his eyes away, something like this. I don't remember, but this is very important, right? And Chiba Sensei said that that's what he will always make sure, that he will be ready before his opponent. And at this moment, his focus was all on his opponent as well. I like this shot right here. I like that they put this, especially because here's what you're going to notice the thing. Okay, you can really see it because of this overlay they put on this, but you will see in a second. So Ando comes in. Okay, he gets in first, but instead of walking into the court, he kind of walks back. He starts jumping. And I'm going to tell you something. When I was watching it live, I thought that Ando was on this side when I saw this. Because for some reason to me, it just seemed lacking confidence. I don't know if this is maybe I'm overthinking this. I am like, maybe nitpicking all this stuff, but I think this is a very important point difference between all the fights that he did before, which I think were great, and this one. We're gonna watch those fights in a second. But Pokemon, welcome to the chat, by the way. Okay, when you said that was, what do you mean? Sorry, I didn't catch the comment. My chat is not showing in my screen, so I have to go back and forth to another screen. So I'm sorry if I'm playing catch up. Maybe you can put this over here and see it better. Okay, just want to make sure here. There we go. So to me, it kind of showed a little bit of lack of confidence. Knowing Ando that he's a seasoned player, I didn't feel that this was something that he would do, but he did it, right? And when the fight started, I was like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know how the feeling of coming into this fight was. And you really could tell the change of feeling by the time after he got scored the first time. Right? Let's watch that today a little bit with that in mind. This kote, by the way, I think it was very good timing. It wasn't enough to be a kote. The judges didn't think it was enough for it to be a kote, but the timing, I think, was impeccable. Very interesting kote. Very surprising. This is one of the things that I always try to point out when you're trying to do something to get a reaction. Most people, they move the first most people, when they're trying to get a reaction, maybe like do a fake attack, sometimes they do it too quick. One thing that I feel Ando did successfully here is that he did it slow enough for the opponent to catch up, to make the opening, to go for the real target. Ando, he's really keeping the focus on the opponent, having something to respond every time something happens. But Murakami is kind of being a little bit more in control. Control of himself. Not necessarily control of the fight, but control of himself. Just make sure I have a pen here. And we got the first man. Now look at the different kendo that Ando exhibits right after he gets hit. Normally, what happens with you? What is your reaction after you get hit? How what's in your mindset after that first point? Because I think that self-talk, that inner talk during the fight is very important, especially if we want to overcome that desperation that we can get. So let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts after you're in a fight and you just got hit, right? I'll tell you in a second what I tried to do for myself. See, Murakami is picking his spots. He's really going for that man. He's been very confident with that man. But even after that attempt of the Tsuki, you know, he's trying to keep his calm. He's above. He's not trying to risk. Ando throwing himself, exposing himself with those men. I feel that moment right here, let me just, I feel that right here, it was an opportunity for Ando. Wait. Right at this point, if you see that pressure he offered on Murakami, he offered the pressure, Murakami was replying for the pressure, but then look at the posture of his body. As soon as he's coming in, he's kind of also going back, and then he freezes, right? I feel that maybe if he would have had a little bit more forward intention, he would have had that extra reach he needed, responded a little bit differently. So maybe again, I'm nitpicking this stuff, but I always like to think about how, if I would have been in this position, what would be the fix? What would be the things to do to bring myself up to the next level, right? That being said, I feel that the approach with the body was great. The use of tame was good. I just think it went a little bit too long, and maybe it's because he's having that hesitant mentality. Maybe, again, I'm just assuming. Pokemon, you always think shoot. After that, deep breath and try to keep your calm and do your kendo. Needless to say, it doesn't always work. Correct. Discipline. You think Ando was nervous because Murakami did well against Hokkaido in the recent police championship. Not sure which Murakami he's going against, but there's a Murakami in Chuken and one in Fukusho. So let me see. Do you know, okay, what, because I think there's 3 Murakami brothers. One is in Osaka and maybe the other 2 in Ehime. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. Actually in the Discord server, Nick shared that information. But I'm going to say that that also plays a part. To knowing your opponent also plays a big part, because maybe you start making a story for yourself before you go to the fight. Normally, when I go to a tournament, what I like to do is I like to not know who I'm fighting. I don't want to start making a strategy before I actually get to know who my opponent is that day. When I mean who my opponent is, I mean who he built himself to be for that fight. So if I'm maybe gathering information from a tournament last month, last year, and I'm trying to think that this Kendo is what he's going to bring to that table and make a strategy for that, what would happen if that Kendo doesn't come out, right? So I always try to just not care, and if I know who I'm fighting, just try not to even think about how he fights or whatever. That's my approach before a tournament. The drills, my mental drills that I like to do is I like to go mentally on what possible scenarios I could encounter and what I would do. So I'll try to go. For me, a lot, my problem was I would get hit a lot for Kaeshi Do. I didn't really understand the timing of and the pressure and how to create a good opening for men. So for me, getting hit in Kaeshi Do, it was very frequent. So I started doing this type of mental exercises where I'll try to figure out what I would see and how can I overcome all these things. So I think this plays an important part. But regardless, I do not try to go with a strategy for a specific player. I don't like doing that at all. Discipline, you said it was Ehime against Hokkaido, the matchup. Okay, so yeah, most likely it was this Murakami and the other one, because I feel like the third brother, he's an instructor in Osaka, if I'm not mistaken. If anybody else has another things that you say to yourself after you get hit, let me know and I'll share mine in a second. So I feel like at this part, maybe the pressure hasn't really fallen into him yet, but you can see that it's doing it because he's throwing a lot of attacks. I feel like this exchange, he lowered down the level a little bit, kind of getting down the control, but then he kind of falls into this again. That was very close. And I'm going to tell you that this type of encounters, when you almost got hit, that messes with your mental status. What Ando did right after, I feel it's one of the best solutions to get over that, and is to go, right? Because what ends up happening is that if you start thinking, if you let that space build up, you're gonna start thinking, you almost got hit. I almost got hit. I almost got hit. Why did I almost got hit? And then in that moment, when you're trying to process this information, the person hits you. So what you need to do is just to like move on from that. Okay, it happened, whatever, in the past. Keep going. This was a very dangerous moment for Ando right here, getting stuck underneath. Ash, welcome to the stream. Thank you for passing by. If you just got here, tell me, what do you tell yourself during a competition after you just got hit? So somebody scored an Ippon on you and you need to get it back. What's your mental, your inner talk? So here, unfortunately, Ando missed that kote. It was a, high risk, high reward type of scenario. Ash, I'm directing it to everybody, but since you just got here, I just pull it out for you. Like I'm just, if you have anything that you would like to share, I didn't mean to, put you in the spot like that. But just in general, like if anybody has any specific inner talk, that's what we're talking about for this fight. So I'm going to say this. Mine, what I like to do, if I just got score on and the fight needs to keep going, what I like to do is I like to always remind myself that all I need is one Ippon, right? So whether I'm in the team match and my team is down, my focus is not I'm going to there to win. Maybe some of you guys know that my field of work has been health coaching. I used to work with addiction treatment, and I learned a lot of behavioral strategies, right? So one of the things that I really enjoy looking at is how to help people, or how to help myself to create goals, right? And you have your main goal is the thing that you want, and then you also have your process goals, and This is very briefly, by the way. Like if you guys are not familiar with this, like don't worry about it. But your process goals, and your process goals are the things that you need to do for this to happen. So if I want to win, and if I focus on winning, then I'm taking my attention away to so many things that I need to do to that fight. So what I like to do, instead of focusing on I have to win, is I need one ippon. And then for myself, I have my little mantra of things that I feel that I need for myself to keep in mind to get that ippon. So this is the only thing I try to keep in mind. And for me is to relax, in the sense of, don't be jumpy, don't go back, or actually I like to make things in a positive scenario. So I like to say go forward. And the last one is, when is he coming and where is he going, right? So trying to find out the timing and the things that he's trying to do. And within these three things, my focus is try to make my opponent make a mistake. The three first things help me take advantage if my opponent makes a mistake. But then I have to make my opponent make a mistake for extra chances of an opportunity. This is my mindset on a tournament. So no, it was no secret or anything like that. So let me catch up with some of you guys. Lucky, you feel like you're losing the fight from that point. So you mean after, if you get scored on, this is your feeling? And listen, one of the biggest parts of competition, and then one of the reasons why I like competition, is because it helps you understand yourself in a different mood, right? When you're in Jigeiko, you can pretend you're in a tournament for a few seconds, for maybe a minute or two, but then maybe the other person is not doing so, and then there's not the stake of, okay, this is going to be over if I get hit, right? Or if I don't take my point. So that being said, being in the tournament feeling, even if it's a mock tournament at the dojo, having this extra pressure, I feel like it helps you understand yourself in a different way. So, and then it helps you understand, how can I do this better? And I feel that all these things are, maybe I'm getting a little bit philosophical here, but I feel like all these things transfer into your day-to-day life. Anyways, you, like you said, you mean that you mean the fight for difference in strength, not ippon difference. Sorry, now I'm lost. Maybe I lost track of the comment. Ash, you think you try to stay calm? It's easy to think that you need to make a desperate attacks to get the point back. At the same time, you can't come up and try not to lose from a second point. Also, you think that is good. You find that when someone gets ippon, they often immediately attempt the exact same thing again when walking back to Kaishisen. You like to think about how I just let it happen. So I'm going to say this. I mentioned during this fight that it's very dangerous after somebody almost gets you, because then you start thinking about it, and then right after they will get you with a technique. Maybe this relates a little bit to what you're saying, but this for me is number one hot spot in a fight, right? This is one high risk spot for yourself. The second big high risk spot is getting back to a hajime. So after the fight is being stopped, whether it is because hansoku, or you were on the border and they want you to recenter, and then, or maybe somebody came out to like check their man or change the shinai. When you go back to that point where they say hajime, this is a very dangerous point. One, because many people cannot restart the fight without the information they gathered before. Or second, because they just, I don't know, they just get stuck and people just get an ippon on them. So these two are places where you need to be, I think, extra careful. The person can come back with like a burst of energy and catch you, or the person can come back with a burst of energy and the other person might be ready and counter. So you always have to, when you start the fight again, you have to take a little bit of the information that you gathered before, but at the same time, take maybe the first 5 seconds to figure out who this person is again, to make sure that this person matches to a person before. I don't know. This is my my opinion. Um, so discipline is saying slow is smooth, smooth is fast, calm is fast, can calm you down and focus on your any situation. Yeah. So again, this is very important. As I told you, I have my own mantra, my own thing that I tell myself before the fight and during the fight to kind of refocus my kendo. And yeah, if this works for you, props to you, man, because really you everybody needs to have one. You need to have something that kind of like super quick, easy to remember, and will immediately focus you into the fight. Lucky, you said you mean that their ippon creates the impression that they're stronger, which is not easy to escape and play confidently after. Yes, and there's a book, huh? I know I bought it a few years ago on as an audiobook. It has something to do with not burning out as an athlete. And one of the things, again, that they talk about in a lot in this book is the inner talk and how you phrase the things that happen to you, right? So if you're a runner, for example, and you're running and your legs start hurting, you can say, oh my God, my legs start hurting. I'm not going to have my best run today. And successful runners, successful athletes will change this into saying, okay, my legs hurt because I'm running. That means I'm using them. Let's go, right? So same thing. If somebody gets an ippon on me, I actually don't try to think about they just got the ippon. I just keep myself focused and I just need to get an ippon. Anybody can get an ippon. Even if you fall down and the sword lands in the right spot, you could get an ippon, right? So it's not impossible on anybody to just get one ippon. So if you just go, okay, I just need one ippon, that's it, right? Maybe you have a little bit better focus. I don't know. Try it out. Let me know how that feels, how that goes for you. Anyway, if you guys haven't, please take a second to hit the like button on the channel. It really helps out. It helps out to send this stream to more people out there and help the channel grow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the first round. Now we saw the last fight, and when I saw the first fight of Ando, I thought that he was going to win because he looked really, really strong. Okay, and you're gonna see what I mean in a second because I feel like it's a whole different kendoka on this. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so we have it going on here. Okay, so again, this is the first round. I want to ask you to please watch over how he walks into the core and see the difference between this time and how he went in the first time. Again, the first time he showed up, like on the final, he walked in, he stepped back from the line, he started jumping before coming in, and then he went in. Here, directly into the core. Let's go for the fight, right? By the way, if anybody would like to join the Discord server, I'm gonna post up the link because I don't know why my bot hasn't done so. This is something that I feel, okay. Maybe we should, okay, it's a 6-minute video. Let me just discuss this real quick and we'll watch the whole thing. So, just having this opening right here, attacking that opening right there at that spot is very nerve-wracking for the opponent because it kind of gets you into that spot. I almost got hit. So now he may be thinking, what did I do wrong that he was able to catch me here, right? It's very, I think Yakudo is extremely underrated. Oh, okay, good thing that he paused the fight, I think. Kind of give him a break on that feeling. Attacking from very far away, from Nakamura. This is very dangerous. So you see, this fight, Ando is still being very aggressive, but more in control, right? We're gonna go back to the Ippons, so don't worry. Just gonna... I don't know if you can tell any difference of how he's approaching the fight differently in here versus the final. That could have been nerve-wracking. I'm going to say that, okay, it happened. I think now he's being very passive, which could be a risk, right? But still, his kamae is very solid. He's not leaving the intention towards the opponent. Don't get me wrong, his opponent, very sharp. Very nice exchange. We're gonna go back to this one too, guys. Oh, you see what I'm talking about? The intention, keeping the intention on the opponent. This wasn't an Ippon, but it can get him into that mindset of, I almost got hit. I'm gonna talk about this technique that he's doing. Nakamura, I'm talking about. So it's almost like he's draining the energy of his opponent, right? Of how calm he's staying. And of course, every second that passes, ooh, that was risky though. That was risky. Every second that passes increases that pressure in the fight, right? Discipline, you said Ando is confident and has control of center core. Yes, and that's something that I mentioned during the live stream of the tournament, but I guess I haven't mentioned it today. That's something that strong players or dominant players tend to do. They tend to hold the center, right? They make the opponent go around. You see, most of the parts where you go to the in the fight, you're gonna see Ando in the center. This is a big point of confidence. Actually, we didn't do this with the finals, right? Maybe I can do that. So if you look, when a player has control of the fight, normally they want to push them out towards the edges, making them get an extra pressure. I'm going to say this though. This is something that you can see, that you can replicate, but it's something that you don't want to be wasting your computing power. I like to call it computing power. It's like, okay, I have this thing that I feel that you need to put your processing power, your brain, to focus on specific things. And if you're focusing on something else, it just drains that computing power from the things that you need to focus on. So this is something that should come natural to you. If you're trying to take control of the center, then your computing power may go away from you, from the things that you need to do. So I'm saying this because maybe you will try to think during a fight, oh, okay, I need to take the... If you go into a fight thinking, I need to take the center, then you're going to take away from the things that you really need to do to take an ippon. So if you go in for your fight and you're being dominant, this is something that you might develop naturally, right? You want to kind of push the person. Maybe you can see it that way. Push the person back. Have your center, your energy pushing the person away. And then you take the center. But if you think about, I need to stay in the center, I need to stay in the center, that could be problematic. But it's interesting to see that Ando being in control of this fight, anywhere you go into the match, you're going to see that he is holding the center. Okay, he took that ippon there. But here, center. Here, center. Here, center. Here, center. Here, center. Center. Right? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Okay, there's a couple points that I wanted to discuss. Okay, let me see right here. I feel like this is the first ippon. So let's got it a little bit of slow motion. I feel that Nakamura came in kind of recklessly, right? He's been doing this a lot, and we're gonna talk about it in a second because I found a better point of view to talk about this. But Nakamura has been doing this thing where he pulls the sword back. But I think that against Ando, that's a mistake because Ando has always the intention towards the opponent, and the tip is right there. Look, so that was a big mistake, I think, just to try to get a reaction from Ando. The other thing I'm going to say, if you're training yourself to get ippons, especially for competition, you have to be diverse on being able to get the ippon from a far distance, which I think is normally what most people focus on, but then also small distances, because here you see Ando is going back to try to create a little bit of a safer distance from Nakamura. Then, as Nakamura keeps approaching, Ando in the spot pretty much hits that man. And I feel that this is something that most people are not used to. Most people, they want to throw the man far. But if you neglect your ability to hit at a short distance, then opportunities like this could be wasted. Because this was a perfect opportunity. So great opportunity where the opponent made a mistake. I don't feel that Ando made Nakamura make a mistake. But if you don't have that ability, it will be really hard for you to get that ippon. How confident do you feel at getting ippon at a short distance, especially for men? Do you feel that this is easy for you? You feel that most people, the mistake that most people make is that the tip will be too far in and then it stops being an ippon, right? So I don't know. Let me know. Discipline. You said even in Murakami's semifinal, had control the center call while Ikeda was really frantic like Jack Russell Terrier. That's funny. Yeah, so the center is something that you will like to hold because it creates extra pressure to your opponent, but I wouldn't suggest holding the center purposely, like making that your goal, because then you might end up losing your focus on your opponent. Okay, so we watched the ippon. Next, there's another exchange right here. Okay. So this is, you guys know I'm a fan of watching, practicing, performing Iman. I feel like this is a great technique to develop your kendo. And I just want to point a couple of things out when it comes to Iman. Okay. So here, both competitors are throwing themselves into the men. Unfortunately, Nakamura, he's been having his shinai backwards a lot. And I feel that this puts you a lot at risk. I personally don't like to take my sword away from my opponent. So, for example, I like to keep in focus. Let me just close this chat thing because obviously it's not the right chat. So, I like to keep in focus my sword towards my opponent. So for doing things like suriage, okay, sorry. So imagine like this is my sword, this is my opponent. So if I'm gonna do suriage, right, I'll do suriage keeping the center towards my opponent. So I guess I'll do it towards the camera like this. So, but suriage, right? If I'm doing harai, many people do harai like this, right, where like they come out and they go out, knocking out the other way. So I like to make a sharp motion, but then end up towards my opponent. So right here, Nakamura is throwing his shinai and bringing it backwards, right? And at this point, there's very little that you can do with your shinai besides blocking that this other shinai cannot really take advantage of. So right here, it's going to take him longer to come back versus how long Ando is going to come in forward. So to me, for myself, if I were to see myself doing this, I would consider this to be a bad habit. Maybe he's doing this on purpose for a reason, but most of the times when I see this and when I see it on myself, I feel this as a bad habit, something you want to stay away from. Okay, so both competitors came in. When you're doing Iman, you want to try to drive yourself into the opponent, not to the side. You don't want to come in with this intention of hitting sideways, right? You want to hit forward and then move to the side if you need to go through. But just quick little pointers on that. Okay. The next spot. And it was this answer against Itsuki, right? Look again, Ando keeping the tip on the center. Makes the distance. His opponent comes in for that Tsuki. And it wasn't quite the distance, but look, he knocks a little bit the Shina on the side, but he doesn't pass that center line. And immediately all he has to do is just bring the sword down to try to get a technique, to try to get an Ippon. So it wasn't successful, but again, it's the type of things that the mindset of the opponent, it will drop from this exchange. Or the confidence will drop. And there's another spot right here. Okay, this is the technique I wanted to discuss a little bit. This is something very useful to have, but you have to be very careful on how you do it. I feel that many people try to do it a lot, and that's why I want to take a second. And is this like Katsugi and then throw a technique, right? It is a very risky. It's a very risky technique if you do it wrong. Okay, many people when they do Katsugi, let me show you something. Okay, many people when they do Katsugi, what do? They do this, and then with the hand like this, they expose it. This is one way. Another way people do Katsugi is they do Katsugi like this, And then, okay, maybe this is not exposed because it's close to the body, and then you will not get hit. Maybe you will. But what ends up happening is that to throw the technique from here, the only way to do it is to throw with your right hand. And as we know, the right hand is not the best thing to do this for. So you want to, if you're doing Katsugi, you want to use your left hand. I was trying to set up another camera today so you guys can see it better. Maybe I'll have it for next week. But you want to throw the left hand forward, and it's going to come more towards the shoulder rather than here, right? So why? Because then you can pull with your left and throw the technique. And not only that, you can also change the angles of the technique. So normally Katsugi, again, is not done, it's not this. Katsugi, it's also using the left hand. So I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys find that useful. I don't know if you like to do Katsugi, but if you do Katsugi, avoid doing it the wrong way. I feel like this is one of the techniques that I see a lot of people wanting to replicate, but they make this critical mistake. And yeah, Katsugi, it's a technique that you want to make sure that you do correctly, because it could be easy to replicate from watching it, but there's very important points that are critical that will make sure that, number one, you don't get hit often, or you avoid getting hit, and number two, that you have power, speed, and control on your sword to do the technique. So again, when you bring the left hand in, like when you use the left hand, you are creating power and bringing it with power. And on top of that, you're not exposing the kote so much. Yes, there is risk, but it's not going to be as much. I think Katsugi is a very risky technique. I don't know. Tell me what you guys, I would like to know what you guys think about that. I think it's a very, very interesting point. Guys, if you haven't, please take a second to hit the like button on the stream. It really helps out. And if you would like to be a member of the stream, I just post up the link. It will really help out the channel, and it will be a good way for you to let me know I'm doing a good job. Anyways, 450. Okay, let me just, okay, we just watched that one, and then last one is going to be the Ippon. Okay, so very risky situation here for Nakamura. And this is kind of almost how Ando lost the fight. Went for a risky kote, and Ando took the man. It was different though, because Ando actually did two techniques. I don't know if you noticed that. Right? But watch it. He goes in, and how he does this. Number one, not using the right hand. Number two, tenouchi. I want to make a video, and I kind of want to call it the rhythm of Kendo, and I feel like this is the rhythm of Kendo, like pop up. And the reason for that, I went to school for music therapy, so music has been a big part of my upbringing. But I know rhythm is one of those things that, you know, I can really explain to you, but to make you feel it, it's really impossible for me to make you feel rhythm, right? You have to feel it. You have to understand it on your own, right? So for me, it's very beneficial, especially practicing kotemen and trying to get this rhythm, because this rhythm is transferable to many other things. You can think this rhythm like pop as kotemen, or you can do like suryagemen, or any other technique, right? Kaishido. This is the thing is very important. So the ability of him to come in and execute that technique, that first tenouchi, it wasn't really a kote, right? But it functioned as a way to get the opponent's sword out of the way. And then he came with a very strong impact using his body and his tenouchi. in order to make sure that the ippon was solid enough for the judges to lift off the flag. I think it was a very, very good display of technique. When I saw this, I was like, this is something that high skills, guys. Like this is high skills. Discipline. Katsugi is high risk, high reward. That what works for me is to use the left hand and point the button of the tsuka at my opponent's center. That's actually a very good orientation for that. I think. I've never seen it that way, but I can see how that works. It's a flashlight. Oh, it's like, oh, okay. Like the tsuka, it's a flashlight, and you're trying to to flash the opponent and then throwing it forward. Okay, I like that. That actually works very good. It's actually very nice. Very nice visualization. I like to do this thing, so maybe I will steal it. So thank you very much. Anyways, I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts on that ippon, but I think that ippon was fantastic. Let me see. I wanted to play. Okay, I want to play Murakami's fight now, but because I was doing my research last night about this, I downloaded all the fights I could find from Ando on this All Japan. And again, I'm gonna point out, look how he walks into the court. He went directly. Okay, right now he's waiting for him to be pulled out, but he's being very chill. You can see the bottom of his shinai there, and then he just walks towards the court, faces his opponent, and walks in. Different than what he did for the finals, right? Very different. Okay. So unfortunately, again, because the All Japan hasn't. Okay, this is I think the same one I just opened. Okay, this is Murakami. So unfortunately, because the All Japan YouTube channel hasn't uploaded the Ippon compilation or all the fights, not everything that I wanted to show, it's there. So maybe next week I will also pull up a stream on the All Japan as well, because I wanted to also show you guys the fight with Nishimura, where he lost, and the one with Hoshiko where he lost. Reason why, number one, is because both of them are strong players. I feel that Nishimura lost maybe out of hesitation due to the new rules, and Hoshiko, I think he lost because actually I don't know why he lost, but he did something against Jordan that I feel like is something that you don't do against Jordan, and he got punished by it. So I want to explore those matches. I wanted to show, because I showed Ando today, I wanted to show a little bit of Murakami, and what I like is that he actually had to fight a Jordan player, so maybe we can use this time to study a little bit about how can we fight against Jordan player to get Nippon. Hui, thank you for passing by. And yes, Hui, he was very stressed in the final. Yeah, we talked a little bit about this early on, that even when walking towards the court, he looked nervous. He didn't look the same. So, great point. Guys, I'm going to say something. I have this other account that I'm trying to. Okay, as you guys know, I was in Peru a few weeks back, and I got to practice with a lot of people that I haven't seen in a while, and I met a lot of new friends. So I decided I want to also start helping out with the Spanish content, but because I don't want to mix things up, I'm not going to post that content here. I actually made a second account, and I have it right here. I'm gonna say hello. It's Kendo Tips en Español. So if you speak Spanish, and you can, I guess, understand me right now, go to that channel and subscribe. Okay, I'll start posting videos in there pretty soon. Anyways, quick little plug, I guess. So Murakami's kamae is very strong. The reason what I was mentioning before with Hoshiko is that covering above your head is very dangerous as a Chudan player. If you start covering up, the opening for Morote Kote for them becomes, you see, just like that. Just like this point, right? This moment right here. Yeah, covering like this is very dangerous against Jodan. So I think we all learned that the hard way. It becomes a very big opening for the Morote Kote. So you always want to be careful with that. Nonetheless, Murakami's kamae throughout the fight so far has been very strong. So if you notice, he's doing a very good job at projecting himself to the opponent. So he's making the opponent hesitate. Not feeling really confident in coming down with that man or any technique. Oh, so you see that's dangerous right there, right? I don't know why I said, oh, if I know the result of this fight. But that's a very dangerous point. Very sharp, very sharp. That's another thing. Against Jordan players, you really don't want to be going back, right? So Murakami is actually doing a very good job at handling the distances, because what happens is the advantage, we always know that the advantage for the Jordan player is going to be the reach, right? But what happens with the reach too is that it takes longer to get there. So when you have somebody that's creating good pressure and actually making the person throw the attack, this person can anticipate the attack, meaning that they won't have time to deflect it and counter. Okay, we're gonna go back to this point. Westblade, thank you very much for passing by. Thank you very much for your support. It really helps. So you're welcome. I hope I can keep making more good content. Discipline. Okay, well, first of all, you're welcome, and thank you again for the support. Listen, this past couple of weeks, I'm gonna stop this because you guys know that. Okay, I'll tell you. This past couple of weeks, I've been focusing a lot on the Ippons, and what has happened is like in the aspects of competition, right? And I guess the first stream I did with the All Japan also talked a little bit about the application of the new rules. So now that I think all that stuff is out of the way, we are a little bit more familiar on all these points. We can start focusing on other points. Now, you guys know I'm a big fan of looking at footwork. As a matter of fact, a lot of times when I watch matches, I cover the top part of the players and try to just understand what's happening with the footwork. Maybe I should do another stream just focusing on the footwork in other matches, especially against Jordan. I feel that you're right. This Murakami's footwork, as a matter of fact, the reason why he had such a big, amazing man is his footwork. And he's showcasing this a lot here. Again, he's playing a lot with the distance. He's being comfortable pulling we'll talk about that in a second. But thank you for the support. Westblade, just so you know, you can always pass by the channel, and there's in the channel page there's a past stream playlist, and I normally put it right away in there. Okay, so you're gonna be able to watch this if you want to explore a little bit, and if not, just pass by the Discord server and ask your questions. I'm gonna try to add more days of the stream, maybe add one more day at some point. Well, we'll talk about that later. Okay, now discipline that you mentioned, footwork. This is very interesting. Look at the footwork right here where he's going backwards, and then he is actually gonna switch his footwork to move to the left. I think that he's being very confident, and again, he's doing that to take that center, to be able to control the center of the court. Notice how the footwork is relaxed, at the same time tension where it matters, right? Look at his kamae, look at the pressure. You can feel, okay, we're gonna come back to this point too. You can feel how he just projects his sword to the opponent. Anybody knows how old Murakami is? He does. There's some things in his kendo that kind of reminds me a lot of college kendo, but also he has aspects that is very mature. So it's very interesting, that mixture, right? It's maybe like a fusion of old and new type of things. I think my next goal after what I'm working on for myself on footwork is going to be my tenouchi. Such a short and sharp tenouchi that they have, especially against Jordan. You need this. You gotta throw that katatetsuki once in a while to let them know you're coming. Hui, yes, but you think Tenouchi training will take a long time? Well, yes, but it's not like it's something that I neglected this time. I'm just saying I would like to focus. I don't want to focus on two things at once. So mostly on my practice, what I do is I always have something in mind that I want to work that day. So until I feel confident with it, or I feel like I don't have to think about it so much and it comes out naturally, I try to not move on to the next thing. So yes, I know it'll take time, but again, everything takes time, right? So I got 4 more years for my Rokudan test, so got time. Discipline. Murakami has good spacing with his footwork, and his tip is consistently keeping pressure on opponents of John Triangle. Listen, and that's what I'm talking about. He is being very good at projecting his sword into his opponent. So there's times, and I think I wrote down some spots that I want you to take attention to, but I'll keep an eye on it too. There's times where he is projecting his sword, he's projecting his energy to make the person kind of hesitate. But then there's times that when he has tried to bring him in by, what's it called? coming down with the sword, like putting down his sword. So sometimes, let me just go. Oh, I just got a notification. Somebody subscribed, so thank you very much. Thomas, thank you for subscribing. If you're here, thank you for passing by. Okay, so there's times where like this is a Jordan player and this is Murakami. Sometimes he's kind of like pushing in towards the hand of the Jordan players, and then sometimes he's kind of just like dropping the tip slightly. And I feel that he's trying to make him comfortable to come down so he can, counter, deflect, or whatever. Anyways, keep an eye on it. But I think discipline, you're good eye, man. Good eye. See right here, full pressure. Okay, now he feels like he's close. Look at the anticipation of the Morote Kote, right? Like he feels like he needs to defend. He got into this position. It's like, okay, that's dangerous, and then he comes in like this. Dangerous nonetheless, because he could have come out around two and hit the man. Very dangerous. Thankfully, he didn't. I think that was a slip up on his side, and maybe he knows it. And now he's trying to challenge with pressure forward. He's being very close, you see? Very good attempt for that Gyaku though. I personally, this year I didn't like Kunitomo's kamae so much. And when I say kamae, I also talk about the way he moved on the court, right? I'm really liking Murakami's. I still prefer Ando's kamae. I feel like it goes more... Ugh. Sorry, I was talking in the middle of this point. I thought we had a little bit more time. But I feel like Murakami has a good fluidity into being giving pressure, being still, and also being fluid. But there's something about Ando's kamae that it just calls me. I feel like it just matches more with me than Murakami. Okay, we'll watch that Ippon in a second. Let's just go back to some of the interesting points, and there are just a few, guys. So I'm not trying to keep you here all day. So discipline. You were talking about how he's giving pressure to all the points of the Jolan Kamae. I feel like this is very important. And right now here you can see the tension here. He's not really pointing out towards the kote, right? He's not pointing at it. He's actually a little bit above it. But this could also be very threatening for him, because then he is going to feel that Murakami, all he has to do is kind of like extend his arms and tenouchi in order to get an impact. So I'm not saying that Murakami will try to attack this kote. As a matter of fact, I think that maybe he will use this to try to go somewhere else, right? To make the person worry about this spot so he can get an opening. And then you see this point right here. This is what I was talking about. That sometimes it's like, okay, that didn't work. Let me try something else. He dropped the sword. See what type of response he's getting from the opponent. Although I'm gonna say that at this position, it's a little bit dangerous for most people. But if he feels confident with it, props to him. Now, this is something that you need to learn to do. I need to learn to do as well. I'm not saying that I can do it, especially consistently. But if you notice, Murakami, it's slowly shortening the distance. Again, Jordan would have the advantage of the distance, right? They can attack farther and being able to land the hit from farther. The problem with that is obviously that the Chudan player is going to have more time to deflect it and do something against it. But if you want to be the aggressor for Shikakewaza, for Murakami, he needs to close the distance past to the point where Yamashita can attack. So in essence, it's like you're fighting a taller opponent. So you have to come in closer than your opponent has to come to you in order to hit you. And Murakami is, I think, doing especially well on hiding his steps into the opponent, right? There's a play between his hands, his footwork, small footwork going in and back, in and back, in and out, that I feel makes that possible. So if you see look at how much distance there is now. And then you see little by little, he goes in a little bit, goes back a little bit, but the distance starts getting closer. And this right here, this is the danger distance for Murakami. Okay, now he decided not to attack, but oh, okay, he attacked right after. So it's very interesting how he's playing around with the distance and with his movements in order to try to make an opening and to get the distance that he needs to attack. Okay, now I wanted to put up this spot right here. I don't remember why I wanted to put this spot. Let me just go back a little bit. This is a great skill for a Jodan player to have. That ability to throw the sword and then recover immediately. Again, you see Murakami is doing very well at coming into his opponent. Discipline, you're saying that Murakami's footwork looks like a creeping L shape. What do you mean creeping? Like, wait, creeping L shape? You mean L shape, like his footwork, his feet are like this? I'll look at it in a second more. I don't get the expression. Sorry, my bad. This is the point that I wanted to make. So Murakami is trying to create pressure. Yamashita, he has something going on for him, is that he's shorter as well, right? So he kind of have a little bit of the best of both worlds if he's doing Jodan against Murakami. But he's able to come in and try to hit this do. One thing I didn't mention earlier today that is very important is that everything you do in the court, you have to think about it as my opponent, it's gathering information against me. So I wanted to mention that on the fight Murakami and Ando, that I felt that Ando attacked so many times that Murakami was able to understand this information, how he attacked, the timing and so on. So he was able to get the opportunity to get that second Ippon. So I feel that when you are doing too many things, this starts happening, right? So maybe this is something that Yamashita kind of had already in mind based on something he saw on Murakami during the fight. And you want to be careful because then you need to have something extra so that way you throw off the information. So you have to kind of change your kendo a little bit during the fight as well. Mix it up, I guess, and not change your kendo. So here, again, a lot of pressure forward. The continuity from Yamashita. See, Murakami doesn't want to let that center go. And again, one of the biggest things that will frustrate a Jodan player, I guess, it's coming in close to an attack. So maybe at this point, right after the hit, See, he's coming in close, and it's really hard for Yamashita to feel that he can do something right now because as he tried to bring the sword down, Murakami is already close in the distance. So this could be a way of frustrating. So you see, right after, what happens? Yamashita started throwing techniques from farther away. So this is part of the mental game that you can think about and try to use in your favor, but obviously practice it at the dojo before. So what I'm saying here is that you want to try to maybe make the person feel that they cannot do something at one distance, so you force them to do at a different distance. I feel that Murakami throughout the fight, he wanted Yamashita to throw techniques from far, but Yamashita wasn't falling for that, right? He was trying to anticipate his motions. Okay, let me see, 6:30, the next spot. Well, a little bit before. Discipline. The L-shaped pattern, like in chess, the Suburi pattern where the forward and back, left and right. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. So yeah, the way that he's moving towards his opponent. Yeah, and it's interesting, right? Because many people they always talk about kind of circling around the Yodan player to get an opening, but he's not really doing that, right? He's actually working more on getting that center. So you see, he's actually fighting him head on. I feel that Murakami had a good opportunity to do a deflection right here. And this is the part where I'm gonna say that as a competitor, he needs to be very careful because maybe this shows that his energy is kind of falling, and you want to make sure that your intention is towards the opponent, kind of like what we were talking about in previous fight with Ando. Let me see. Okay, we have only 2 more spots that I wanna show, guys. Again, this is one of those things that maybe he knew that it wasn't going to be an Ippon, right? But he's trying to make Murakami change his kendo, do something different so he can have an opening. If you guys are familiar with Tokui Wasa, with your favorite Wasa, your best technique, whatever, your best technique is not only about what your best technique is and how you do your best technique. It's also what you do to make the opening for that technique. And this mass will be something like that, right? He's trying to get Murakami to think differently so he can have the opening. So if you have a favorite wasa, do you have a way to set up the technique? Let's call it that. If you do, let me know, please. Or someone you know. Okay. What do you guys think about this kote, first of all? And what you think made it successful? Let's see. Murakami, it's putting pressure and releasing it. Releasing it, anchoring himself to go forward, and hitting the kote. Okay? The biggest thing, I think that someone that does this very well is Hoshiko. Going back, anchoring himself to push forward, kind of getting his opponent confident on going in, and then once they have momentum, pop, come back at them. Right? In this one, Yamashita is not really such an aggressive player, so he didn't have so much momentum in. but he definitely had that intention to go forward, right? You see right here, he caught him too in the middle of moving the back leg, and then he immediately kind of had to re-anchor it, brought the sword down, and Murakami was able to take that man. I mean that kote. It's a very interesting setup timing. I think it was an interesting exchange right here. And I feel that he did this. Let's watch a little bit before, because again, sometimes it's not about the technique, but sometimes it's about the setup for the technique. Look what happens here. He's putting pressure, going back. He's not biting. Putting pressure, going back a little bit, not doing anything. Oh, he doesn't want to come. He doesn't want to come. Okay, he's coming in. Okay. Okay, 2 times. And then he switched it up in the third one. So, again, everything we do during our fight could be information for our opponent to take and then used against us. So, I feel that at this point, Murakami made him make the mistake. Why? Because he did this push forward and backwards. Forward and backwards. I don't know what you guys think. I don't feel that Yamashita made Murakami go back. I felt that Murakami started to go back, tried to pull him. You see, he's going it. Okay, he's not coming. Pulling it, come back. You're not gonna come? Oh, okay. Oh, now he's gonna come. Okay. Coming in, pulling back. Coming in, pulling back. Oh, he didn't come. Okay, now. Okay, we changed the timing. I don't know what you guys think. This is something maybe I'm, again, overthinking, overanalyzing. Let me know what you guys think. Hui, you said that it felt like the Bana man. I wouldn't call it necessarily the Bana because I don't feel that Yamashita had the intention to attack. I felt it was kind of like he just got caught off guard. And I don't know. It's a hard point, I think, to break down because he got caught in the middle of nowhere. He had his hands in a point where like he wasn't necessarily a position to attack. So it's kind of weird. It's a kind of weird point. So props to Murakami for being able to get that point in such an awkward timing as well. Discipline, the ducking and dodging after a beautiful wasa, like you say, it's like splashing paint on a Mona Lisa. You're gonna make me okay. Let's go back for a second. Let's do this. Okay, so I'm going to say, and again, this is opinion, that to me this shows his attention in the fight. I think if we are in a fight and we're trying to pay attention to these aspects, it's gonna cost us. Because if he misses, and again, the computing power, the processing power, it can put him at risk. That being said, is it the best? Is it beautiful? No. But it does give that, to me, it gives that feeling of fear for his life, because it's not like he's trying to be tricky, right? He's just pushing himself into the opponent to avoid getting hit after he got the hit. Because, again, it's very important that even after we do a technique, you keep attention to your opponent. I think this is very evident on the kata specifically, and in Iaido they do it as well, right? Like they do the cut and then they give attention after the cut. In the kata, we hit, but we keep the sword there, and then we keep the attention towards the opponent. I think this is a very important point. And here, because of the way how we cut during practice, during training, it's going to be different. So to me, and it's a personal taste thing, I don't think it makes the technique ugly or anything like that. To me, it kind of gives that sense of, that he's in that moment and he feels that his opponent really has a sword, and he needs to confirm that he's dead before he can actually relax. I don't know. It's just opinion. Nothing against the way that you see it. But thank you very much for sharing that, though. That being said, guys, I'm going to have a stream with Andy Fisher on Thursday. It's going to be 5:36, 6 p.m. my time. I'm going to start a little bit earlier to try to get the people in, and then he'll probably join us around 6 p.m. I'm very happy to have him here. If you have any suggestions of questions you want me to ask him, you can pass by the Discord channel, leave them there. You can leave them to me here as well. And I asked him if it would be cool for him to watch a video together with us. So if you have any suggestion of a video that you think that we should watch together, please send them our way. If you would like to be able to make sure to know when the stream goes live, you can go to my page, and there you can put a notification to remind you. If you would like to help support the channel, guys, you can become part of the member group of the stream. All you have to do is just hit that link and join the server, and you're gonna get a couple of extra perks, especially as we are getting a little bit bigger. I'm going to start making members only streams and allow for chat, depending on how many people will be in the stream and so on. So I'll appreciate if you can at least check it out and let me know your thoughts on that. That being said, guys, this is all I had for you guys today. I'll be here also next Saturday to do a regular stream, but remember, I will having a live stream with Andy Fisher on Thursday. If you have any questions, suggestions, please let me know. I'm always welcoming, and I always want to remind myself and remind everybody that because of you guys showing up here, you guys keep me motivated to keep studying and keep learning, so I can bring you much more information and much more Kendo. So please, if you can, share this channel and share these videos around with your friends, with people that you feel will be interesting on. And this week I actually made a video with about the finals, about the last men's for Murakami. So if you would like to pass by and watch this video, I'm gonna leave it down here in the comment box. If you haven't seen it, please pass by and hit a like, and make sure that you leave me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts. So let me just paste that video right here. Okay, yeah, you're welcome to pass by there. Guys, thank you very much for passing by. If you haven't, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. You guys have a good rest of your week. Today I have Kendo practice, so hopefully it'll be a good one. And Hui, thank you very much for passing by. Ash, thank you very much. Have a great week. I'm so sad I didn't get to see you in the past seminar, but let's see if I can make it up there sometime soon. Okay, guys? Thank you again very much for passing by. You guys have a good rest of your week and have a great Kendo training. Take care, guys.